Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to this week's Tarot by the Book. If you are new to Tarot by the Book, this is a series where once a week I do a intuitive week ahead tarot reading for the collective, for whoever finds this video, watches this video, and my intent is for this reading to be useful to the person engaging, to any person engaging with this video at that time. But more than that, Tarot by the Book is also an opportunity for me to show you how a deck works in action. So how it reads for me intuitively, but also at the end of this video or after I've done my intuitive reading, we'll also go into the guidebook and read the entries for each of the 3 cards that I pull for the week ahead reading in the guidebook, so that you also get a chance to learn a little bit more about the deck creator's intention for the meaning of the cards and see how the guidebook actually works for you. I really enjoy working with tarot guidebooks, and so this is a way for me to sort of highlight them and also for you to see not only how an intuitive reading kind of works with this deck, but how the by the book reading works with this deck. And then in the process between my intuitive reading and what the book has to say, you also get a chance to get a different perspective on what the different cards mean. So it's kind of a review of a deck in action, a reading, and a learning tool, sort of all mixed into one, and it's something I really enjoy doing. So today I have randomly selected from my collection, I use a random name generator, the Mermaid Tarot by Leeza Robertson. This is illustrated by Julie Dillon, as you can see here on the guidebook. This is a deck that I actually usually work with only for my work with the goddess that I particularly work with. So today I'm going to be making sure that I take a moment just to cleanse this deck specifically for this reading and for this purpose. And then after I'm done, I'm going to be rededicating it to my Mama Yamaya and putting it on her altar and letting it go back to its job there. So I didn't want to skip it though, because I do think it's a really wonderful deck and I think it's really beautiful, and I'm excited to show you how it reads. So yeah, I definitely wanted to share it. So this is, in my opinion, this deck, the aesthetic is very much kind of like a sort of Disney movie, mermaid world. And it's not Disney, it's not Disney art, but it just gives me that same kind of sort of feel, right? Like it definitely feels very Disney to me. But this is what the edging looks like on this deck. I actually edged it in multiple blues and greens to sort of match the back. And I really love the effect. I actually picked 5 different colors. So a color for the majors, a color for each of the 4 suits, and then I mix them together, and that's how I get like a really nice mix of different shades. And it's also a really nice way for me to be able to tell how well mixed my deck is. So I really like that. This is a Llewellyn deck, so the cardstock is a little bit on the thinner side, but it holds up really well. It's also really glossy. But this is a really beautiful deck. I think it's really immersive, and I really enjoy the take on the cards. Even though it's a watery deck, you can see that fire comes through loud and clear in the wand suit, and we also have really great earthly suit showing up, and the other elements as well. Obviously water comes through really easily, but even air, it's done very well in this deck. Let's see if I can find you an example. Wands, yeah. So you can kind of see that even the air suit is really clearly depicted. I absolutely adore the majors in this deck. We get a very sort of wintry scenes in swords. So yeah, I really enjoy this one. But to be fair, I haven't really worked with it with the guidebook in a long time, so I've kind of forgotten already sort of how this reads. I got this deck in the spring of last year, like February, March-ish, I believe. So I'm really excited to dive into it. So just as a reminder, the way that this is going to work is in a moment, I'm going to start shuffling and focusing for the week ahead reading. I use 3 static card positions every single week, and they're always the same. So I use 1 card. The first card position is the energy of the week. The second card position is the obstacle. And the third is the advice. So energy, obstacle, and advice. And the goal of this 3-card spread is that you can apply it to the week ahead, but you can also use this to apply to just about any situation. So as I begin to shuffle, if you're participating in the intuitive reading portion, then as I begin to shuffle, I'm just going to ask you to focus on your question or focus on the week ahead for you. I really believe that adding your intent as you watch impacts the reading. And as I say in my client readings, I really feel like time in this way is not so linear. We're going to give her a good shuffle. So some deep breathing, centering, watching the cards move, and focusing on your week ahead or on your question. Oops, on your question. All right, one last rifle and a cut. There, feels right. Let's see what we have coming up. I'll zoom us in. We have our energy, our obstacle, and our advice. Oh, there she is. I'm actually excited this card came up because the Empress is actually Yamaya in this deck. All right, let's bring it in a little so you can see really clearly our 3 cards. So in the energy of the week, we have the 3 of Cups. And I'm actually going to zoom this out because I'm so used to picking up and handling the card as I talk. So there we go. That feels a little more natural. So the 3 of Cups is an energy about cooperation and collaboration in an emotional and in a nurturing way. And so this week, what we're really going to be feeling is that need, that desire, and the blessing of those connections that we have emotionally. Interestingly, though, the 3 of Cups, one of the things that always stands out to me is that each of these 3 characters that are often featured or pictured in this deck are all very different. You don't see 3 that are very similar or identical. Instead, what you get from this card is you get this idea of 3 unique personalities or 3 different kinds of energies. Some decks might even display or show this card as if each of these mermaids was from a different element of the of the 4 elements. And the idea here is that the seeker, the person who's getting this reading at this moment, is drawing on the skills and the abilities and the personalities of the people around her that aren't like her. And so I'm inviting you, as you kind of take in the idea of this card here, as we're looking at the energy of the week ahead, to think about who and how you rely on, when it comes to relying on others, and how you rely on them to be different than you. I think this is a really interesting thing to lean into this week and to appreciate this week, to consider the ways that the other people in your life, the relationships in your life, can help to balance you and can help to support you, not just by echoing what you say and what you think and what you feel, but rather by bringing their own unique perspective, by bringing their own skills to the table. So this is really the energy of the week ahead, is this idea of connecting and appreciating those that aren't necessarily exactly the same as us. When we move into the next card position, we're now looking at the obstacle of the week. So the way that I read my cards all upright, but this position is essentially a shadowy position because we're looking at this card as a barrier or as an obstacle. So I'm going to read it as if it had come up in a reversed way, which I've talked about before, but I want to reiterate. The Ace of Wands is a card about vision and opportunity and ideas. It's often about the things that come to us, those sparks of those flashes of inspiration, those flashes of creativity, those things that kind of sneak up in us and we kind of go, oh, that'd be fun, or oh, that'd be exciting, or oh, that's a great way to propel me forward. These are the moments that usually come in and sort of like sweep us away a bit with the idea. Now, as an obstacle though, when we're looking at this in shadow, what I feel this card is trying to tell us is that we might find ourselves kind of easily distracted this week, when really we should be staying the course and focusing on moving forward, kind of putting one foot in front of the other. The Ace of Wands tells us that a lot of us are going to feel like kind of our attention is going to get tugged away by this or by that. We're going to find ourselves really easily swayed from focus and instead distracted. And I think as a result, we're going to need to really be mindful of that and be aware of the things we really want to accomplish this week. And if you have certain goals you really want to meet, if that's the kind of thing that you're doing for yourself, then try to stay focused on those goals, but also keep in mind that knowing up front that you're likely to be easily distracted and easily pulled off course this week, you may want to set those goals a little more realistically than perhaps you already have them. So let's say you wanted to get like 10 loads of laundry done this week. Maybe just pare that expectation down to like 5 so that you can stay focused, so that you can get those done, but so you're not overloading yourself. Because when we feel overwhelmed and overloaded, we're actually a lot quicker to be distracted and to want to be pulled off course because we're feeling overwhelmed. The Empress, as our advice of the week, is very much a nurturing, compassionate energy. And I think we really need to turn this energy inward and give ourselves some gentleness and some inward mothering and some inward nurturing. But we also need to be aware of sending that energy outward as well, of being aware of how we're supporting others just by existing. And that may seem silly, but a lot of us forget that sometimes the most nurturing stuff we do automatically. We don't even think about it. And so take a moment to recognize that that stuff is really, really valuable. And also give yourself permission to turn some of that nurturing and caretaking energy inward this week, to really look at how you can support yourself at the best that you possibly can. This is definitely a reminder to stay in your personal power, to not be giving that power away. Don't be a doormat this week. Like, really own your own internal strength, but own it from a soft, loving, compassionate place. So that, my friends, is our 3-card week ahead reading. Again, you can apply these meanings to a particular situation if you were focusing on one specific situation, like as we were shuffling. You can apply this to your week ahead and just look at these messages in a more general way, just like I described them. But what we're going to do now is get into the book and see what the book actually has to say about these 3 cards. So I'm just going to move them a little bit so that we can still see the book. Perfect. So first we have the 3 of Cups. And this is one of those guidebooks that I should really consider edging the pages. I like to edge them so that they're colored in relation to the suit, so it's easy to find. I will say these guidebooks that Llewellyn has been putting out are so beautiful. They're like full page artwork. Like, look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? So I don't even need to hold the card up. The art of imitation is a fun way to put yourself in the shoes of someone else. Here in the 3 of Cups, our little mermaids are playing out what they believe to be a human ritual, the tea party. They raise their cups and make up a toast before they laugh at how this strange ceremony makes them feel. But that's the thing about friends. You can be silly and act out funny scenes just for the sheer joy of it. Our little mermaids don't really understand the need for cups and teapots, but the play itself brings them closer to each other and keeps them in the vibration of happiness. As social beings, we need time with others. To keep our emotional, physical, and mental bodies balanced, we need to socially interact with people who make us laugh and understand us. This interaction can be as simple as having a cup of tea, or as complex as playing out a scene in a movie you have all seen a million times. This social engagement will increase your spiral of abundance, boost your energy, and promote the vibration of joy throughout your cells. And I believe that's it. Oh, yes. Oh, there we go. And then it goes into the reverse meaning, which we can skip for this card because we are reading it in an upright position. So let's take a look next at the Ace of Wands. So this was our obstacle of the week. So we're going to read the introduction and then we're going to read the reversed meaning. When something is new, it has a certain spark, heat, and energy to it that lights you up. It gets you excited and seems to stream energy right into your veins. This is the gift of the Ace of Wands. This card is full of creative fire and passion and has that lovely new smell about it. But before you go grab that wand and gaze into the fire pearl, think about what this new energy will change in your life. Are you ready for things to get intense, heated, and desire-driven? If so, then by all means, reach in and grab that wand with all your might. If not, let it go for now. It will still be there if and when you change your mind. So in the reverse, if you aren't expressing your pent-up creative energy, where is it going? The energy of the Ace of Wands can be productive or destructive. It matters not to the Ace. It has no predisposed position on which way you use its energy. Think about it this way, though. Wouldn't life be easier if you were making things more magical rather than constantly lighting fires everywhere you go? Okay, that's brilliant. I forgot to comment on the 3 of Cups, so I'm going to comment on both of these and then we'll go into the 3rd card. So for the energy of the week, one of the things this was focusing on was play and the real need for social connection, which I think is something that we can definitely relate to at this particular point in time. But I also liked that it was not also about letting go of worrying what other people were going to think. They were playing and enjoying each other's company for the sake of it. And they were letting go of sort of expecting to really fully understand what was so great about teacups and teapots. They were just playing, right? Which I think that playful energy is something to really embrace this week. With the Ace of Wands, I think it's interesting that it's kind of like, are you ready to be sort of caught up in this fiery, desire-y energy? And if not, set it aside and continue on. You know, you can pick it up later. And I think that message really did echo what I was saying about not letting yourself get pulled off course. There may be some of you getting this reading, though, this week that need that that sort of fiery pull, that need to get away from the mundane and get swept up in the energy and the drive of the Ace of Wands this week. And if that's you, then the message for you may be very different. Your obstacle might be your hesitance to reach for that wand. So consider that aspect as well. So let's take a look now finally at our advice for the week, which is our Empress. So excited she came up. Particularly, it feels like a little bit like Yamaya was like, it's okay that you used this deck for Tarot by the Book. Because again, I usually use it exclusively for her. So let's see. Here we go. Yamaya is, I wish we could see her picture. We can on the next page. Yamaya is the mother of the sea, said to have birthed the fish children into existence. Her shining Venus star is the light that helps guide them home. She is the ruler of water and all who live under its protective waves. It is her job to carry life, bring newness into the world, and keep the sacred royal genes of her people intact. Her beauty is beyond compare, and all who know her want to be just like her. She is affectionate and compassionate, but knows how to scold and discipline when the situation requires it. Accurate. She holds the conch shell of fertility, and with one song she can lay the expectant seeds of something new into your life. All she wants to know is whether you will be able to see this through from conception to birth. Will you give these seeds time to germinate and grow at their own speed and flow and bear fruit in their own time? Like all mothers, Yamaya wants you to have your heart's desires, but also knows that for it to happen, you need to pledge commitment and loyalty to the possibilities she can bring. And then the upright meaning, I went ahead too quickly here. Oops, there we go. The Empress is full of potential, both literally and metaphorically. Everything she does is to bring new loving, creative energy into the world. She knows what it takes to see something grow from an idea, from something intangible to a physical, tangible thing. She understands the amount of time, energy, and commitment involved in the process of creation. Now she asks if you understand as well. Nothing worth creating will be quick and easy. It will take its toll and push you to the edge of your limits and beyond, and the Empress knows that it will all be worth it in the end. I think that's a really beautiful message, particularly since the Ace of Wands seemed to be warning us against being pulled off course. The Empress, when we go by the book meaning, is her advice to us has a lot to do with seeing things through and staying with our commitment and honoring the need to finish what we've started, which I think is a really beautiful message as we layer it with the Ace of Wands. And I think it ties in like really well to what I pulled from these cards intuitively. All right, you guys, so that is, oops, wrong direction. We need to go this way. That is this week's Tarot by the Book. This was a lot of fun. I would love to hear your feedback down below. And if you feel like sharing at the end of the week how these energies and these cards played out for you, I would love it if you came back and shared some of the feedback in that way as well. As a reminder, this deck is available right now. It's on the mass market, so you can get it on Amazon. I will have a link for that down below. You can also get it from a local bookseller. You can ask your metaphysical store to bring it in if they are open. And yeah, this is the Mermaid Tarot by Leeza Robertson. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for Tarot by the Book, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!